Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the neighborhood. And today the neighborhood is at Moose River Outpost, just north of Jackman. And right behind me you can see part of Heald Pond. Moose River Outpost is a retreat sort of place that is right in the middle of 7,000 acres. And there's no development. In fact, we're 2 hours from the nearest hospital, and it would take probably about 30 minutes for the nearest ambulance to get in here to us. But it is just a spectacular spot to come to and rewind. I'm actually here with a couple of churches on a men's retreat for the weekend, and it is just a beautiful place right in the middle of God's country. And the reason why it's important for me and so special for me here, especially this time, this is the fourth year that I've been up here during the men's retreat, is because of stress. Now, I know we've done a lot of talking over the past couple of years about stress and how it affects folks and in different aspects of it, but you have probably noticed that I've been gone for a while and we haven't done very many posts, and that's due to some stress at home. And we talk a lot about stress at work and the different stressors and how to manage it at home at work, but we don't do a whole lot of talking about it at home. And over the past couple of months have developed it and understand it. So now, and kind of now at a point where I'd like to talk about it. Back in May, I lost my dad. It was a quiet passing. We knew that he was passing. All the kids, my brothers and sisters, were all with him, and but it is so we knew it was happening, but it created a hole. And I thought I was doing okay with it. After he passed, there was a period of about 7 weeks before we were able to have the funeral and his committal service. And I thought I was doing okay until I got close to the funeral. And many of you know that I'm a pastor, and I performed the funeral service for Dad, and that created a fair amount of additional stress. And the week before I was to perform the service, it really got to me. In fact, I called out of a shift, and the supervisor, as gracious as she was, just said one thing, and not out of maliciousness at all, but I was calling out of a 24-hour shift, and she said, well, just one little comment, and I took it completely wrong, and I literally exploded on her and realized, you know what? There's stress at home, and it was a hard thing for me to manage that, and I didn't understand it at the time as I was going through it. After the funeral service, we'll talk a little bit about Dad here in a minute, but after the funeral service, we had a family gathering, and then we were scheduled to go up to the Northern Maine Veterans Memorial Cemetery. Dad was a veteran, and that's where he was being interred at that cemetery by his choosing, and realized, I got to thinking about it, that wow, there was a whole lot of stress involved in that, and did a little bit of research on it, and losing a family member, especially a parent, is tough. And I thought I was doing well with it, but I wasn't. So why am I bringing that up? I'm talking about it because we talk a lot about work stress at work, but we don't talk a lot about it, the stress from home, and that is as valid, if not more so, than the stress at work, because we'll bring stress work home, and home stress back into work, and we've got to be able to have a spot where we can discharge that, if you will, and how to manage it. Hence the reason for this retreat for me is because I'm able to kind of get my head back on my shoulders again. So we have to find a way to do that, whatever that place is, whatever that process is for you. The same way that you're able to deal with the work stress, need to deal with the home stress, and all the tools that you may be using. Use them for home too, because understand you're going to leave work, and you may leave the job. You may go move on to another job, but your family's always with you, and you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself so you can take care of your family. So, with that said, a little bit about Dad. Was an Air Force veteran. Was stationed at Loring Air Force Base, that's now defunct, up in Limestone, Maine. And in his later years, he was actually a volunteer firefighter with the West Forks Volunteer Fire Department. So we were able to have a bit of a firefighter ceremony. He had long retired from the West Forks Volunteer Fire Department, and was a long time out of the military. But we were able to honor him through had the color guard. Had a military honors interment there at the VA cemetery with the flag and taps, and then we're able to do the last call for him at his service through the Somerset Communication Center. So part of this is my final farewell to Dad. But also to talk about the stress that goes along with that and losing a parent. And it is very real, and it does affect everybody. And even though I talk about it, I am just as prone to it as everybody else. So I hope this little bit helps, and a kind of a tribute to Dad as well. I hope this video finds you well. And if not, reach out to somebody. You can reach out to me, reach out to a supervisor, reach out to a friend, to clergy, or to a chaplain, whoever you have that's within your support group. Reach out to them. And sometimes it's just a matter of talking, and maybe it's even as simple as a hug. But don't let it go. Don't let it go unattended to. Because the stress can certainly lead into a lot of other things, and we don't want that. So I hope this helps. We'll see you next time. God bless. Howdy, folks. Well, this is a special kind of stress here. As looking around, today has been the day that we have brought my dad and his remains to the Northern Maine Veterans Memorial Cemetery. Dad passed a couple months ago, and that's a reason why we have been kind of lax at getting videos out. It's been kind of a stressful. As many of you have already know, when it's time to bury a loved one, parent or child, it tends to put you through a particular different type of stress, and just being able to manage that stress, or to be able to talk with folks, come around with family, is certainly one of the ways that's necessary. And I have learned that firsthand, though I will say I have failed it many times during this past couple of months. Dad died back in May, and we are just now here at the first part of August, burying him up here in Caribou. So I just wanted to say thank you for your patience. There'll be more to this video as we come together and talk some more about stress. But just wanted to say thank you for your patience. Thank you for your understanding of as we in public safety know far too much about stress, and then it's more. It is more than just professional life, it's also personal life. So we'll talk more about this in a little while, but thank you for joining me here today.
Somerset Comm to West Forks, retired firefighter Jim Bacon. Somerset Comm to West Forks, retired firefighter Jim Bacon. Somerset Comm to West Forks, 516. Attention. Attention all units from Somerset County for a final tone-out. Retired firefighter Jim Bacon, longtime member of the West Forks Volunteer Fire Department, passed away after a long illness on May 19th and will be laid to rest at the Northern Maine Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Caribou. The bell has been struck for his last alarm. Firefighter Bacon was a friend to all and a tireless volunteer for all the local communities. May you rest at peace knowing your work will be continued on. May the sun shine upon his path. May the winds always be at his back, and may the Lord hold him in the palm of his hand. Godspeed, 516. Your fellow firefighters have the watch from here. From Somerset Com to West Forks Fire, clear at 11:29.
On January 22nd, 1934, James W. Bacon was the second child and only son of Joseph and Thelma Bacon. Dad grew up on the family farm in Mercer, Maine, assisting his father with many responsibilities of operating a successful dairy business. After graduating from Skowhegan High School in 1952, Dad continued working with his father for 3 years, during which time he decided to join the U.S. Air Force. He served as an air traffic controller from 1955 to 1959, eventually being permanently assigned to Loring Air Force Base near Limestone, Maine. He married Rosalie Rowe of Norwich Walk on June 15, 1957, and the two resided in Caribou for the remainder of his tour of duty. After his expiration of his enlistment, they returned to Central Maine, where Dad took over the family farming business in Mercer, and the two of them continued growing their family to 6 kids, 3 boys and 3 girls, all by 1972. Along with being a farmer, Dad took on other roles during this time, such as hauling hay and running a small contracting operation with his own equipment. In 1977, they sold the Bacon homestead and moved to Norwich Walk. It was then that he began doing what he truly loved, being an owner-operator as a proud member of the trucking industry. In 2000, Dad and Mom sold their home in Norwich Walk and converted the seasonal camp into a year-round residence on Pleasant Pond in Caratunk. He would care for other folks' lawns in the summer and keep their driveways and camp roads plowed in the winter. He also busied himself by working up his own firewood with family's assistance, serving as a Caratunk town selectman and even as a volunteer firefighter for the town of West Forks. On May 19th, 2022, Dad passed, left behind Mom, Rosalie, 6 kids, 19 grandchildren, and 17 great-grandchildren, 3 sisters, and many nieces and nephews and cousins, all too numerous to recount.